How do you figure out your next steps when you know you're working with the moon, and but like, how do we figure out you made a decision of enrolling into yoga teacher training? So then how, like, what's the next, like, right step? How do you even decide? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be addressing sort of my thought process, and hopefully you will find it helpful and useful in your wellness journey if you are planning on embarking on becoming a yoga teacher. So if you wanted to sort of see my thoughts and my process as I'm going through my own wellness journey, then just stay tuned and let's get right into it. Listen, I am not a yoga teacher. I have a wellness clinic and I'm a massage therapist, and it's an awesome job and I enjoy it very much. So like, why shift, right? Like, really, why shift to become a yoga teacher? Why would you want to become a yoga teacher, first of all? Well, that's where this becomes a very interesting conversation, and I'll explain to you why. Because maybe you're just gonna be like, well, my local studio offers a class, so see ya. To me, this is an interesting conversation because when I looked into yoga teacher training many years ago, I was not married. I did not have children. No, I had a 9-to-5 job. But even at that point, I had a 9-to-5 job. I was never really that person that was just like living at home, so I can be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go to Costa Rica for like a month, or India or Bali or Thailand, and I will complete my yoga. Like, I will see you in a month. Listen, that's cool. That's not where I'm at right now. So where did this whole idea come from? Basically, honestly, most people that actually know me, there is the irony right there. Most people that know me personally, they're sort of like, how is that a thing for you? I thought you were a yoga teacher. And no, I'm not a yoga teacher. I'm not certified. I'm the person that will go to yoga festivals and meditation festivals, and I enjoy it. And I always sort of had that kind of question, like, I wonder what it would be like for me to run my own class. So this is why we're here right now, because I didn't want to give you, this is not a video where I provide you with tips and tricks of, you know, what you need to watch out for when you're selecting a yoga studio or like a place where you practice. This is a video that sort of talks to you about what happens when you're not 19, you're working full time, you have a career already, you have children, you have a family. How do we decide sort of what's the next right step, and how much time and energy can we give to yoga teacher training? Like, does that mean, are you saying that if you have children, you have a family, and you have a career, then you couldn't become a yoga teacher? No, it does not mean that. Well, first of all, I decided that I think that this is the next right step for me, because I really wanted to spend some time creating a community, which is what we're doing here. I really believe that we are creating a more mindful, more connected community that actually cares about the right things to sort of do for your health. But I think that if we need to be in that environment in person as well, which is sort of, massage allows me to do that, but it doesn't allow me to do it in a concentrated manner. So that's sort of where yoga comes in to me. Might be a totally different story for you, and that's cool, but that's sort of where I'm at right now, where it's just deepening that lifestyle. And I'm always the advocate of, if I talk to you guys about something, if I'm willing to even bring it up as an option, whether that's yoga, aromatherapy, or dry brushing, or, holistic practices, or a modality, I really want to be the person that has already done it. I don't just want to talk to you about it because it's a trending topic. So if you haven't grasped that thus far on this channel, well, let me welcome you first of all, and just tell you that I will always be the one who will go first. Because I don't want you to follow my footsteps or be inspired by or whatever and take my word for it just because I told you in a YouTube video. I want it to be the person who will actually lead with integrity. I will go first and I will try it out. I will definitely be the person that will go through this stuff so that maybe it will save you some heartache as well, especially if some of your struggles are the same as mine. So that's sort of where I'm coming from, and this is why I'm really excited to kind of embark on this journey. But it's been quite interesting because as I'm learning to manage my own anxiety in a more holistic way, I'm definitely finding that obviously movement is going to be a really big part of that. Hence why yoga is sort of that, it seems like it's that perfect puzzle that kind of fits into the picture. However, finding a studio for me thus far has been quite challenging. Definitely a mental process, that's for sure. It's not just because it costs you quite a bit to actually enroll. It's not just the money, it's also the time and it's the energy that you also have to invest in order for you to be certified. And I'm willing to do all of those things. However, and this is where things become interesting. I looked at, you can look on yogaalliance.org that will sort of list some of the certified places where you can, they are basically part of a membership, and they're sort of willing to take on that membership of Yoga Alliance so that way it's like a larger community and they're abiding by certain code of ethics. I love all of that. But I'm looking at that list in my local area, and then I'm looking at like what their schedules are, and I'm looking at like what they offer, and then I'm also looking at the energy of the studio. So thus far, I have visited about 3 different studios because I figured before I'm willing to actually sign on the dotted line and say, yes, you are the studio for me, you're in full alignment for me energetically with how I am as a person, how I would like to be as a practitioner, and what energy you bring and what kind of experience you offer to your students. That's sort of where this becomes a not so easy conversation. So my number one thing is basically do your research. Do your research and try out many different studios, because first of all, it's going to be an adventure. It's going to be an adventure, and as long as you can detach from really finding your answer in like 2 minutes, then I think you can actually enjoy the process. And even when you go to a class that you hate, that's fun too, because you not only had a workout, but then you came to the conclusion that studio is definitely eliminated from that whole lineup, which is what happened today. I went to a yoga studio today. This was, I think, my 3rd yoga studio that I looked at. Tomorrow I have another one booked. Like I said, process. Fun times, right? Yeah. This is not fun if you're not patient, which is like, I'm not a patient person. Can you tell? Yes. Okay. See why this is a fun video? I would love to just tell you, here's a quick fix, here's a quick pill, take it, and then you have your answer. Not that simple. Honestly, it's a process. And it's, like I said, it's not just based on what you pay for the training, because most of the studios that I'm looking at right now, they all cost about the same. They're very comparable. It's not like one is $10,000, the other one is like $300. Nope. They're all in full alignment, like in line with everything else. Me doing my research in my local area. And the reason why I'm doing it in my local area, honestly, a big part of it has to do with the fact that I have a family. I can't just take off for like a month and be like, okay, see ya. I'll be back in September. No, to me, that's not an option. It just isn't. And I have to honor the fact that like, that's where I'm at in my life, that I'm taking on more than one hat in any given day. So maybe you're at that point as well in your life. So then at that point, you're doing research on local studios. So with local studios, a lot of it has to do with how you feel when you go into that studio, what is the energy that they bring, and what type of classes they offer. And then how do you feel when you go to those classes? So I went to one today. Price is right. Their scheduling for the classes is perfect. Not too far from my house. I can make it work with my work schedule. So a lot of it, they checked a lot of the boxes. And then I went to the class and I'm like, oh my gosh, I hate this. Like I literally, like I'm listening to a song midway through the practice, and it's, if you know who Soul Rising is, basically he's one of, or like DJ Taz, you know that they basically have like this downbeat trance type of music going on throughout. Basically they play at Wanderlust very often, so you can kind of check them out on Spotify, and you kind of get the idea of the type of music that I enjoy during a practice. Well, this was not it. This was sort of like pop music trying to be like, with beats yoga music, but it was terrible. Like, I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, when will someone speak up that this music is terrible? Because I can not only not relax, but I'm also having a tough time focusing on the pose that we're supposed to be in. And maybe that's, what? Some of you might be looking at that like, that's actually a good practice, because look at all the stuff that came up for you and then you recognize it. See, like when there's a lot of blocks coming up, maybe you can release it. No, I don't want to feel like that during a yoga class. I really don't. I want to feel deeply connected, fully present, and not get, and even if I do get agitated, I want to be agitated because of the poses that I'm pushing my body into, not because the music is annoying, if you know what I mean. So, like I said, it's not going to be your black and white conversation when it comes to like finding the place where you can practice, and just keep in mind that you're going to be spending a lot of time with the people that you see in that studio. So you definitely want to be in that space where you feel comfortable, you feel like there's a level of resonance, which is what I'm looking for. And thus far, there's only like one studio that I actually felt that way, and I'm going to go there tomorrow. So you will see ongoing updates about this. This is going to be a series, because maybe I'm not making this for those of you that are already yoga teachers. I'm making this video for those of you that maybe you're at that same spot as I am, where you're really at the research phase. And maybe you have children too, and maybe you have a family too, and maybe you have a career too, and maybe you're just looking to add to this. And maybe you're not just looking for like a hip studio because they're down the street from you. Maybe you are, and that's cool, but what if you're not, I'm always I like to take a deeper look at things and really make sure, because my decisions have weight to them and there's consequences to them, and it can be a positive consequence or a negative one. And I want to make sure that it's in alignment with, not only for me, because like my actions don't just impact me anymore, they impact an entire family, an entire community. So I want to make sure that it's the right decision for me and my family. If you are in that limbo like I am, I would love to connect with you. Comment below and let me know if you have completed your certification, if you're in the middle of it, if you're in the thick of it, how is that going? I would love to connect with you guys, because I know that this is not a straight black and white conversation, and it shouldn't be. It's a bigger decision, because it's going to impact your life for the next few months, not years. I mean, technically, if you're making that transition, hopefully you're going to be teaching classes and impacting tons and tons of students for the long run. Now, what does that mean for us here on YouTube? Well, maybe when it's all said and done, you will start to see more content from me on the yoga side of things. Maybe. I think you will be. I think that we will practice together. I'm hoping we will practice together. I hope that you will join me, and I hope that you will allow me into your space so that we can connect deeper. But I want to make sure that the studio that I select, it's in full alignment with what is important to me, what I find to be my core values. So I'm not taking the decision lightly, and I don't think you should either. I think that you should spend some time, do some research, see which studio resonates, see which teacher resonates with you. This is all I wanted to share with you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you are going through your own teacher training. I would love to connect with you. And what was your number one deciding factor? Because that's always an interesting one. It's always interesting to hear other people's deciding thought process of how they make decisions. So I would love to hear what your thoughts are on this. And in the meanwhile, if you are brand new here and you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so you don't miss another video. We usually chat here about 3 times a week, talking about everything all about intentional living and how we can have a more connected, more meaningful, health and wellness journey together. So if that sounds good to you, then consider subscribing. And in the meanwhile, just keep shining, you guys. You're just so much more powerful than you think. And I will see you again in my next video. Bye.
Mickey says hi. Okay. Can we please just take a moment and celebrate the fact that my bangs are not so short right now that I look like you're even wondering like what went wrong? Yes, let's celebrate that. Life is good when your hair is cooperating and says, hi, I want to work with you today. Perfect.